I actually wasn't going to do this video. I decided that I didn't want to do these types of videos anymore for new DLC characters, but I saw actually a couple of you on my more recent Atom videos asking about when the intro dialogue video would go up. And I figured, hey, apparently people are asking for it, so I may as well do it. Let me know if this is something you want to see in the future with more DLC characters. I'll certainly do one for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because, like, I'm sure they're going to have awesome dialogue options. Regardless, let's just jump straight into the list. An interaction that I'm not quite sure how I feel about between Vixen and Atom.
It's like we're Jackie and Takeda.
What are you talking about, Ryan?
Play more fighting games, Mari.
Again, I'm not sure whether I love or hate this one. I love it because it's a cool interaction that shows you how much of a nerd Ryan Choi is. He's one of us. But it also, at the same time, is an awesome shout out to not only Mortal Kombat, but the fighting game genre as a whole. But on the other hand, what do Ryan Choi and Vixen actually have in common with Jackie and Takeda at all, other than the fact that one is an African-American female, and the other is an Asian-American male? As far as I can tell, they're the only two similarities between the characters, so I don't know why this was referenced this way. I feel like there was probably a better way to get a fighting game / Mortal Kombat reference in there. I don't know, maybe it's just me. If anything, I think this probably calls to the lack of representation in Injustice rather than the presence of, but maybe that's just me, I don't know. This interaction just, again, it just feels weird. I don't know why. If I was Ryan Choi, I couldn't imagine myself saying this to Vixen, because again, there's actually just no similarity between those two characters at all, other than, you know, what I already said. On one hand, I want to love it, because it's a really cool shout out, it's a really nice reference, and it shows how much of a nerd Ryan Choi is, but then there's just that, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Regardless, it was funny the first time I heard it, so I laughed. This next interaction is actually with a Mortal Kombat character, Sub-Zero.
How will you combat me, Atom?
I shrink, but retain full strength and speed.
Then I will swat you like a bug.
I think the big reason I like this interaction, despite it being a fairly generic one, meaning that it's not specifically unique to those characters, it just works well though. Sub-Zero's reaction to somebody saying, hey, my superpower is that I can shrink, I feel like his reaction would actually just be exactly what he says, which is, I'll just squash you like a bug. Just feel like that's something Sub-Zero would say. It's very Sub-Zero. This entire dialogue chain is something I could actually see happening if these two characters were to actually ever meet. The next interaction is with Cyborg.
Palmer left me the belt, Cyborg.
What? It was some kind of gift?
I think it's a responsibility.
I love this interaction because it speaks to the relationship between Ray Palmer and Ryan Choi, and I think you'll see that a lot throughout this list, while also displaying how much Ryan Choi wants to live up to his legacy. Very cool interaction indeed. This next one is with the Flash.
You really think you're fast enough?
You'll never see me coming.
Allow me to prove you wrong.
Again, this is pretty obviously one of the generic ones, meaning that the interaction isn't specifically made for these two characters. However, if you somehow hadn't managed to play Injustice up until this point, you would actually have no way of knowing that, because this fits together so perfectly. And again, it's one interaction that I could totally see actually happening if this fight were to ever occur in the context of a story.
I'm not sure why Batman paired us up.
How about slaps and tickles at 10 paces?
Miss Harleen, I'm sure that's not it.
This next one is with Harley Quinn. I know it sounds kind of silly, but the primary reason I like this one is because it specifically shows how quirky Ryan Choi is. Not only is he a nerd, but yes, but he's actually just kind of quirky. I don't know, it feels like kind of a throwaway one, but I like it because I think it shows a lot of Ryan Choi's personality. This next one is with your boy, Jason Todd.
I feel an urge to crush your dreams.
Ever thought about seeing a therapist?
This is my therapy.
I'm actually not sure if Red Hood has said this before in the game, but regardless, I think it's a cool interaction that gives you a nice taste of each character's personality. This next one is one that caught me off guard a little bit, and that's an interaction with Green Arrow.
You ever been swallowed alive?
Excuse me?
I have, and it was fascinating.
Again, this one caught me off guard. I did not expect it. I thought it was really funny, a good comedic line between two awesome comedic characters that need to show up in the DCEU. You hear me, DC? You hear me, Warner Brothers? Make it happen. Atom, Green Arrow, in the DCEU. The next interaction is with another character that absolutely needs to show up in the DCEU, Warner Brothers, Dr. Fate.
I see a dark road ahead of you.
Ray Palmer believed I could handle it.
He made a mistake.
Again, the big reason I like this one is just because of how much it shows Ryan's drive to make Ray Palmer proud. I'm not sure how prevalent that's actually supposed to be in his character, because again, this is my first experience with the Ryan Choi character, but if I had to guess, I would imagine that's probably the science friends throughout most of the stories he's involved in. This next interaction is with Firestorm.
Professor Stein, this is a privilege, sir.
Professor says this'll be easy.
People say, don't meet your heroes.
The science friends. This goes back to a video I made ages back. It actually might have been like day 2 of Injustice 2. I said something along the lines of Martin Stein needs to be able to talk more during Firestorm's interactions. It's actually one of the big reasons I don't play Firestorm today. One of the things I was really hoping to see in Firestorm, at least from a design perspective, is having Martin Stein be able to talk, not necessarily in gameplay or anything like that, but perhaps maybe leading up to the match where he like walks in. You know how we currently have Ryan Choi walk in with a lab coat and then he like turns the costume on somehow because of science? I was imagining Firestorm's intro to be, you know, the two people separated, walking up and then fusing together the same way they do on like Legends of Tomorrow and even in the comic books and some of the animation stuff. Why not? Regardless, I like that they acknowledge that Martin Stein exists, which, I mean, he does that quite occasionally in Firestorm's kit. He goes to the professor and he talks about the professor, but we never actually hear from the professor. I want to hear from him, man. Why does Martin not talk? The final voice line interaction, and probably my favorite one for Atom.
Asynchronous phase, Phantom? I've become unstuck in space and time. This is why I don't work with Rip Hunter.
Awesome, so awesome. This one made me so happy. It put a smile on my face legitimately from ear to ear. Seriously, for people who did not immediately realize how awesome this interaction is, his quote, word for word, is "This is why I don't want to work with Rip Hunter." But despite that, Atom, granted an entirely different version of Atom, but Atom nonetheless, currently works with Rip Hunter and has done so for the past 2 years on Legends of Tomorrow, one of my more favorite DC shows currently on air. So obviously you can bet that put a huge smile on my face. I like the Rip Hunter character quite a lot, and I'm glad that he got a shout out here. I'm not sure if it's his only shout out in the game. I would imagine so, but even if it's not, it's a nice shout out nonetheless. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. My name has been Bilbzy, and if you could show your appreciation for this video by leaving a like and staying subscribed for future content, that'd be greatly appreciated. I'll see you in tomorrow's video.